On today's expose, we are featuring is it Executioner or Executioner? Executioner.
Okay, thank you. When I was younger, I always called him Executioner because there's no E, but it's Executioner.
Right. Yeah, I guess the hyphen is a Executioner.
Yeah. One of those silent letters that's so famous in the English alphabet and vernacular.
Yep.
So, glad we got that cleared away. His real name is Carl Denti. He was a FBI agent, and he worked with somebody, which is named Fred Duncan, who used to work with Charles Xavier, and his partner died, but he had all this information about Charles Xavier and all these mutants and all this weaponry, and he's like, oh my goodness, I hate mutants. And so then he decided to have a vendetta against mutants. They call him like the one-man army, because he has all this tech and all these machineries, and he just goes after the mutants. He was created by Scott Lobdell and Jason Pearson, and first appeared in Uncanny X-Men Annual number 17 in April 1993. That's all I really know.
That's fine. And actually, I have that annual. I remember, if it's the one I think it is, they show this really cute image of like Cable and Rachel Summers, only like their kids in their whole getup. Because there's like this nightmare that Jean's having that her kids are like going to turn against her, and it's this whole thing. But
that's not a nightmare. That's all kids.
Yeah, that's all kids. But I've always liked Executioner just because I was exposed to him at a young age. So I'm excited that we're finally seeing him. I hope we get more of him throughout this series. Hopefully this isn't like the only bit we got to see him in.
I go where I want to go. Jean.
Scott.
Jean?
Scott! I summon the Arctic winds!
No more mutants!
I summon the Arctic winds!
No more mutants!
I summon the Arctic winds!
No more mutants! There's always more gators in the bayou.
Don't get a
Cool. Welcome to this week's Solving for X. The time has finally come. We're here to talk about X-Men 97. My name is Shawn. I'm an excavationist.
And I'm something of an X fan myself, Kevin.
And I am ecstatic to be here.
Everybody, we have returning guest Ryan. We have a lot of Ryans. We have Ryan Yorio.
You do have a lot of Ryans on your show.
Yeah, we're a very Ryan-friendly show here. So Ryan is a Storm stan. If you don't remember him, Ryan is also one of
we're going to be talking about that a little bit later.
Yeah, Storm had her moments in these episodes. Damn. So I thought I'd update us. There has been some speculation to Bo DeMaio. I thought we'd talk about it a little bit. Nothing concrete. There has been a report, according to comicbookmovie.com, that Bo may have been hard to work with. This is according to Jeff Snyder, who reports that he was an absolute nightmare to deal with on a daily basis. This has also been corroborated on The Witcher, which Bo DeMaio worked for. There were allegations that he was hard to work with on there. Just allegations. Don't know if they're true or not. It is unfortunate since he puts on such a good public face and he's so good with fans that behind the scenes he may be a little bit difficult to work with, and it sucks that this is his like dream project and he was kicked off of it.
Yeah. I was asking people. Go on.
Oh, were you?
I was asking people who have had contact with him, who know him, who he's communicated with a lot more than me, because he followed me on Instagram. And he talked to me a little bit.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Or last week? Yeah, it was just recently.
Yeah. But like our people, Paul from Power of X-Men, Kyle's another one who I guess he got flirted on by him before. But he's like, says, I know things, but I can't say things. But they all both agree that it had to be something big. So
Okay.
Oh, it had to be huge because he deleted his social media, and it's just but it is very odd that there's nothing out there except for, and there's barely even rumors, and so it is such a hush hush thing, and I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see how the story continues to unfold.
Yeah. And you got more, Shawn. Sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay.
Oh, I did too.
I still love you.
Because I caught Kevin off.
I guess part of the report too, and I guess Disney has come out saying this wasn't a factor, but behind the scenes, I guess some of the Disney higher-ups found Bo's non-nude OnlyFans to be unsettling and creepy, but that may just be like offhandedly that they're saying it's not part of the reason.
Yeah, I don't think it's that, because they all knew about that before he was even hired. So
yeah, I agree. I think if it were a problem, it would have been taken down much sooner. But that was just part of the report that came out.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. On lighter news, let's talk about the previously on. Which Fox character do you most want to see in the MCU? X-23, Magic, Psylocke, or Sabretooth? Kevin and I said Magic. Where do you weigh in, Brian?
Ooh, I think I'm gonna go Magic.
Okay.
You have
Yeah,
to
she's a good
believe
character.
it is magic. Okay.
So this wasn't very close. This was an obvious winner. We had X-23 and Sabretooth tied at 10%. I actually thought X-23 more people would say higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Psylocke had 27% of the votes, and Magic had 53%. More than half of us want that Magic. I mean, she's already a beloved character in the comics, and then put Anya Taylor-Joy as that character who we all love, and like, it's magic. Yeah. It's magic.
oh, it's magic.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, perfect. Today we'll be covering both of the episodes that came out today, To Me and My X-Men and Mutant Liberation Begins. And yeah, we'll go from here. These aired March 20th, 2024. Oh, I just dropped when we're recording this. We're recording this on March 20th, 2024.
I mean, none of this is going to be a surprise because we're recording every Wednesday that these episodes drop. So, yeah, you're hearing them 2 days later. Ta-da!
The story was by Bo DeMaio. I read a little behind the scenes. Bo actually was the writer of pretty much every episode from season 1 and 2. But he did go to Eric and Julie Lewald, and he did go to Larry Houston to give them a say in his writing, to say if there's anything that they wanted involved in the stories, and to see if there's any like blaring issues with his writing, like anything that doesn't match the old feel or anything to add.
I guess there's nothing egregious, but I did notice things here and there in this new revival edition of X-Men. The music was a little different. Like, it's pretty much the same thing, and I'm not a musicologist. I'm not a music major, so I'm not going to pretend to understand it all. But there's something about the intro song that it was like it's almost there, but like not quite, or it's just too sleek. And that's something I noticed. And when we talk more about animation style later, we can talk about that. But it's just like there's things that are just more clean now that weren't quite as clean before, and I kind of like where it looks a little rougher. Story though, I'd say the biggest differences in the writing is it felt a little more quickly paced than the X-Men original series was originally, because you still got a lot of story in each episode, but they felt like there was a lot more breathing room, especially in the second act. And so I'd say it feels very similar, but pacing seemed to be a little bit different in this, to where it's like, it's still like a 20-minute episode, so it's just like, okay, so it's like the same runtime, I guess. but it did feel a little faster. But I mean, largely the writing still felt, pretty much the same to me.
Nice. Cool. And
Yeah.
speaking of, you would agree?
I would say, well, I think they streamlined the action scenes because they definitely took advantage of the technology for the action scenes and made them more quick and could do more. But they also slowed down at some of the more intimate scenes, and they had their homages, like those really like blank stare faces, and like, oh, that's the classic. There you go. So it was fun. It was fun to see the balance.
Yeah. This was directed by Jake Castorena. And I thought, because we have new show, new things going on, and because
new segments.
Morph is like morphin' all the time, there's going to be a new segment. It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time. Yeah, I love it because it's good. And it's very 90s.
Good. And so you kind of brought this up, Ryan, but I thought we'd talk real quick. So how do we like the opening credits? You mentioned the music. I actually liked the music. I thought it was like a welcome update to the old school. How about you, Kevin?
Yeah,
I think I didn't mind it. I was just like, ooh, I feel the vibes of the old one. It's the same song, but it's like ooh, fancy, and because it is new and improved, so you do kind of want to have a bit of a fancy nature, a new version of things. So I didn't mind it.
It felt a little, maybe it's a little less synthy. I think the synth was a little bit heavier in the original version, because it's the same song. I mean, it's like beat for beat, same song, and then then at the very end, where we get the kind of the stainless steel X-Men there on the screen, where it didn't quite have that same metal clank that it had in the previous one, but it's still largely the same. And I like the opening credits, and I'm not going to. I have to mention this, but I'm not going to go any further because I have a point that I want to make. So what I like about the opening credits is it really does feature the characters that you're going to see in that episode or not see. Because in watching the third episode, and this is all I'm going to say about it, is that pattern. Well, I guess third would be a pattern. So the opening credits for the third episode, I feel, have established a pattern that as characters come into the show and leave the show, that they will be swapped out and featured there in those little vignettes, motifs, right there at the very beginning. And I like that, because then you get an idea of like who's going to be in it, or a new character, or maybe a departed character. So I like how there's a dynamic nature to these new opening credits.
Yeah, they change.
Yeah.
You get different segments, different pieces of the puzzle, new characters. It's funny to me that Wolverine starts naked and then has his suit just appear.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, if you were cosplaying Wolverine, that's exactly how I imagine that it would be with you.
There you go.
Yep. And we get this more in the second episode, but I like that we see kind of reimagined pieces of the old show in the new animation style, which make it more dynamic. Yeah,
like that Rogue thing when she flips the Sentinel, you get to see her face now. Yeah, and it's super fun. And they didn't credit Ron Wasserman in this. I forget where it was in the credits. They have the theme song, and they said Haim Saban and what's his face, and Ron Wasserman was the guy that actually wrote the song, and they didn't credit him, which was super weird to me.
That's weird.
Oh.
Yeah,
maybe he was a terror to work with too.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, little humble brag for Ryan. Ryan actually already got to see the third episode, as he hinted at.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Where can we find your review on these episodes?
Well, I haven't had time to post anything yet, but I'm going to post a review on my blog at rlterryrealview.com, and I I don't know if Letterboxd is going to carry it. Every once in a while, it seems to carry television shows. So I'll have to look to see if Letterboxd is going to carry that. And so yeah, and I in turn will be sharing your show with the studio since they
how
sent
fun.
the invitation
How cool.
to me to I mean, not just me, I mean, yeah, everybody in the association to review it, but it gives me an opportunity to like directly be able to share the show. So I'm really excited to get to do that, because I think it's a great show that celebrates just everything that we love about the X-Men, and is such a fun place to be. And I'm just glad that I have opportunities every now and again to get to come to this fun place and talk about these great characters and show.
Oh, stop. You know just what to say.
Oh, hush.
Sugar.
Sugar.
All right. Take us away, Kevin.
Oh, yes, right. I forgot I did my thing. Okay, scene 1. Hone in on Times Square, where we do see some very familiar looking World Trade Center kind of buildings, which was interessant. Callisto and Leech are hiding in the corner, dramatically. No, while the police are searching. A car pulls up to a warehouse. It's the Friends of Humanity. They have captured Roberto da Costa. Ooh, I know who that is. And they plan to sell him for 10 grand to a buyer. Rude. He's got the power dampening collar on. They put on their Mega Man busters. That is exactly what they look like. And
you're welcome.
And prepare for a fight as the weather changes. Storm blasts her way in and easily dispatches the FOH. She is dramatic and wonderful.
Right.
And everything I love.
She's
so
like
good.
Storm, mistress of the elements, and then it's just like, I was just like, I think I jizzed my pants right then and there, because it was just like it was familiar yet fresh and exciting, and I was like, there's my girl, and it's just like this is gonna be I know who my MXP is gonna be, not 5 minutes into the show. And so that was great. I loved that intro. I love that intro.
Allison Celia Smith, and she's really worked. The voice is perfect. Her delivery is everything you need. So she's really killing it.
It really is.
So from the beginning, great. Enter Bishop, who joins the fight, and we get to see how he absorbs the little blaster things. There, he's like, I'm gonna get you. It's fine. Storm and Bishop are knocked out by an explosion. and then enter Cyclops. Cyclops is so good in this scene too, with his epic fightlessness, and he does his whole and flips. Psych is handling his own until the FOH reveal Sentinel Tech. They bring him down, but make the mistake of removing his visor. He's like, I surrender.
Like, you don't remove my visor. I love it.
He does the whole knot thing again, which was the best thing ever.
Wait, did you hear that?
Don't have a man.
You got mail.
90s moments.
That's a 90s moment, because we got
90s moment.
Hang Tight, we got Not, there's a sign for Futurecom, pagers, and more. In Times Square, we got a ton of, they're like making sure we know we are back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So he was so good. This was a great
I love the way they use his powers of him like blasting on the floor to slide across the floor.
Yes.
Genius.
Yes.
No, like it is for, while I imagine that the target audience for the show is ultimately folks around our ages, I like how they're incorporating enough identifiers with these with the characters, whether it's names or powers or what have you, for those who may be coming to the show for the first time. And I like that there seems to be a nice balance to where it's like, I think, pretty much it seems to be geared towards people who grew up with the original show, but there's still room for new people to come in and enjoy it. And I like how they we're able to find that balance, even in this opening scene, the first 2-3 scenes. And so it's like we're getting, nice introductions for the characters for anybody, who perhaps isn't, on the level of you fine gentlemen.
And what's crazy is I didn't make it a secret. In the last 3 months of 2023, I was working at Starbucks. I was like the oldest old man there amongst little 20-year-olds. And they're still talking about this show, though. I remember one of my coworkers was like, I'm catching up on the original show so that way I could watch X-Men 97. And this is 30 years later. This show came out before he was born. So it's crazy how this has left a legacy for a show that almost didn't get made.
Yeah.
Right.
I noticed some fun stuff in Times Square. Would you like to hear?
Yeah. Pray tell.
So there is a sign that says Da Costa in Times Square. So right away we're shown how rich this family is. But when we get to the building, it's actually at the Hip Skate Party, sorry. And some of the letters are knocked out. So the letters that remain are Hate Party.
Hate Party.
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Crazy.
What was I going to say? There's something else. Is that later? There's something later. Never mind. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Back at the manor, Cyclops bitches at Gambit for not helping in the fight. Meanwhile, Gambit, hoo-ha, he stayed at home to make beignets, which you can still get right now at Universal Orlando. And so I've certainly had quite a number of beignets in my time there. Enter Rogue to defend Gambit, and I love that we still have the kind of her genteel Southern accent. I love it. And in comes Professor X. He takes a man-catching beignet.
Okay, Tiana.
Was that Disney?
Man-catching beignets.
That's my childhood in South Carolina sneaks up every now and again. Scott sees through the facade and tells Morph to stop being creepy. Gambit throws a charged beignet at Scott. Jean stops it with her power and throws it from the window. She's throwing out a perfectly good beignet. I cannot believe it. And Jean enters. Oh, preggers. Oh my gosh. She's carrying like quadruplets or something. That is some pregnancy.
And this is our first morphed into Professor X.
Yeah. It's morphin'
a lot of morphin'
It's
time.
morphin' time. I cannot handle how fucking sexy
his crop top.
Gambit is in this scene in the crop top. It's a rocker crop top.
Yeah.
I can't.
The only thing that was missing is if they had made it the crop top from that Johnny Depp wears in a Nightmare on Elm Street. That would have been the only thing that makes the crop top just a little better. Is if there's that little nod, he'd be like, I see what you did there. But no, he was hot right there in the kitchen. I mean, making beignets, all hot, gorgeous hair. I mean, it's the absolute perfect specimen of a man.
Yep.
So good.
And this is a callback too to Have Yourself a Morlock Little Christmas, because that we found out he was a baker in the kitchen.
That's
he liked
right.
To cook.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Speaking of callbacks, last episode too, last scene when Roberto says, "I was born this way." Of course, Lady Gaga, but
Lady Gaga.
but it was also called back to Jubilee when she was first captured. She's like, "I can help the way I was born." So
there's a lot of Night of the Sentinels in here. I like the nods to that, and we'll get to a couple more of them later. But you're right, Kevin. We have some really nice parallels there, and they're not just like cheap nods. It's part like it pays off dramatically, and I like how they were did think to include those because it works on multiple levels.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about this just in case anybody hasn't heard, but there is some morph drama. Morph being non-binary is really affecting some people. As an example, I saw one It just goes to show the intelligence level of some of these people. One first, because Julia Lewald came to its defense and said, "Hello, like in the original show that we made for you, he would turn into Jean and flirt with Wolverine. Like it's always
Like,
been there."
Yeah, have you learned nothing?
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe what would just like I don't know how that knowledge would affect how you're watching the show. He's still, in my opinion, Morph is still Morph, and I don't know how. It's really kind of, I mean, it's sad because like how it's like in what way could you have possibly found anything unsettling? I don't get it, because there's just Morph's doing what Morph does. We're just getting to see more Morphin time. And so I really hope that that doesn't become a thing, because the show itself certainly isn't making it, quote, a thing. And so it's just part of the universe. And so I don't, it's sad that it's already getting responses like that.
For months,
Yeah.
even when they first announced it, it was a mess. People, I don't know. So I think of it as like Republicans at Disney, because it's like, why are you even watching X-Men? Why are you even here if you're gonna complain? You know, this is not your kind of show. So go away.
Well, what's funny, and I have to apologize real quick. I realized I called Morph he. Morph is they. Morph is
They,
Morph.
yeah,
So
right.
I need to be careful of that. But one thing that was funny about this person that wrote this thing up about Morph being non-binary is they're like, "You're making Morph what in this show? We don't need no homosexuality in this show. Wolverine's flirting with who?" And I'm like, well, A, nobody said anything about homosexuality. We're talking non-binary, which is not sexual. We actually don't know for sure which way Morph swings. We don't know if it's men, woman, or both. I would say, in my opinion, it would be both. Because if I could turn into any sex that I want, I'm going to have sex with any sex that I want.
That's very, very sound argument.
Yeah, but they never addressed it in the show because it's not needed. All we need to know is that Morph chooses not to go by he or she because Morph is a shapeshifter who can be he or she, just like Mystique, who is also a very non-binary character.
So there you go.
So hopefully it won't become a thing, and then just get as many people watching the show as possible, because there's so many great things that we can learn from how all these characters interact with one another.
Well, apparently, and to Julia's point, there is a lot to learn, but we're not learning because she was like, in 30 years, we haven't made many strides from where we were back in the 90s.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot to learn, and hopefully it opens people's eyes. All right. Roberto wakes up in one of the Manor laboratory to the sound of Mozart. He finds Beast working in the lab and Jubilee looking after him. Beast has been busy studying Bishop's time tech. I was like, is this going to come into play? This is going to come into play.
They're going to do. I mean, we already know he's from the future. We got to do something. Yeah.
Yeah, X-Men's nothing without the time travel element. Enter Scott and Aurora. Beast reports that Roberto is in good shape. Scott and Storm ask Roberto about his attackers. Roberto doesn't know anything, and he doesn't appreciate being held at the Manor.
I don't know about you. I don't know about you guys, but if I woke up in a mansion, I think the last thing I would do would be complain. It's just like I'm here in a mansion, for crying out loud. So it's just like I don't know. Maybe it's not as large as the mansion that this yuppie. I haven't heard that word in a long time. That this yuppie lives in. And it's just
my mansion's bigger than this.
What's to complain about?
I'm like, where are your servants?
Yeah.
He's straight out of the TV show Royal Pains. Royal Pains 30 years ago.
Well, and he was just saved by these people. He wakes up in their mansion in a nice bed. Like, they're not going to do much to you, kid. Like, come on. I didn't even say. I told you guys, but I didn't tell the listeners. I'm that kind of weirdo that like I waited until 9 p.m. because I was like, maybe it'll release at 9 p.m. And then when it didn't release at 9 p.m., I waited till midnight. I was up till 1 a.m. for this show. I was that excited.
Yeah.
It is. It's been a long time waiting, even from the time the show was announced, and so I imagine there's so many eager people out there that were, maybe doing the same thing. But listeners, that just shows you the dedication that Shawn has to the show and keeping you informed and entertained. So
When I
never
woke up this morning-
never take it for granted.
I looked on YouTube and there's already like all these reviews at like 9 a.m. like,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah, I've already watched it twice, once at midnight and once this morning to write this, this podcast.
But I recognize this Mozart song. I was very happy to hear the magic flute.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that one. So that was cool.
Cool.
Who? Me? Yes,
It's you, baby.
Yes. Okay. All right. In the danger room, Roberto is seen standing amongst a destroyed New York City. In the wreckage, we see Val, Cooper, and other government agents, as well as Leech and Callisto. Magneto flies in and asks Roberto to join him. Roberto isn't feeling the stimulation since he knows it's fake. He's like, I'm done with this. He's like, and Jupiter's like, show me your power. He's like, no. And then Wolverine comes in. Enter Wolverine. He pounces on Roberto and he's like, bitch, please. Like, this is part of the danger room. You're not going to scare me. And then Wolverine's like, oh, computer off. And he's like, yeah, he has his head in the claws. And then he's like, oh, wait, this guy's real. I'm scared now. Crap. Yep. And so, yeah, he's got me. I paraphrase that, but it's fine.
Yeah, I like to get the danger room right there at the beginning. So it's like Celine Dion says, it's all coming back to me now. And so we even have our danger room here at the beginning. So it's very fun. And we had Sentinels, just like in, if I remember correctly, Night of the Sentinels in the Danger Room. I think we also had Sentinels, so a nice parallel there. Might have been that space age monster. I don't remember for sure, but we did have the Danger Room, so we've got some continue to have some really nice parallels between Night of the Sentinels and our brand new continuation of the series here.
That's true. Jubilee did make her way into the Danger Room, didn't she, at Night of the Sentinels?
She did. And as I recall, it was Beast and Wolverine who saved her. I think Morph might have been in there too, but I definitely remember Beast and Wolverine. No, it was Gambit. It was Gambit and Gambit. Yeah, it was Gambit. Maybe it was Gambit and Beast there in the. But yeah, right there in the Danger Room in the very first episode.
Nice.
Yeah. So Scott and Jean speak to Val Cooper in Xavier's old headmaster room. They're trying to find Trask. They're worried that he may bring the Sentinel program back. Val reveals she was good friends with Xavier, and that's why she wants to help. Scott gets annoyed at Val for not helping enough and cuts the feed. He looks outside of the X-Men playing basketball. Jean knows Scott is in a mood because Xavier's death certificate. Such like I don't know if is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. It's a little morbid, but he's spending time with the death certificate. Jean talks to Scott about leaving the X-Men. Oh, here's our first little dun-dun-dun. And then the basketball flies through the window and breaks OG team portrait. I know.
Crying.
Yeah.
And Cyclops is like, ugh, I hate them now. Why are they doing this to me? But yeah.
He's no fun. He is like, it's just sometimes it's just like, come on, dude, lighten up. Just have some fun.
Well, he's got the weight on his shoulders. He's trying to hold it all together.
Stop
after
making
Xavier.
excuses for him.
Not making excuses. He's not Atlas. He does not have the entire world on his shoulders.
I mean, it's a lot like, because he's technically the leader right now, and Val could be a little bitchy. She could be a little jerk, and like, yeah, be
She
suspicious
really
of her.
really was, yeah.
Even in her 80s workout, she's like, I'm exercising while I talk to you.
It was like the gazelle. Wasn't she on the gazelle like the in the I think of the first thing. I wonder whatever happened to that guy, the gazelle dude. I wonder whatever happened.
It's funny. Jubilee asks when she tries to figure out what his powers are. She says something about, "Can you shoot gold balls?" or whatever, which is, I think, supposed to be a reference to Egg, who can do that. So that was fun.
And there's
excellent
a
observation.
Gold balls.
I know, and I have a gold member. No, not really. No, no. Gold balls. Fun.
That's the next Bond villain. That is a Bond villain name right there. Gold balls.
So, some fun facts and some things I noticed. I thought it was funny because this is a new Cyclops voice, Ray Chase, because unfortunately
he sounds so much like him.
Yes, and
so
I think it was on the show last week where you guys mentioned something about the voice. I think it was you, Kevin, because it was a video game you were referencing, and you said the voice sounds really similar, and I had to look it up. I completely forgot, that it's not, because it sounded so much like the original voice. It's just like dead ringer.
Yeah, because unfortunately Norm Spencer, the original voice, passed away, so that's why they had to recast him. Jennifer Hale is the new voice of Jean Grey, but Catherine Disher is the voice of Val Cooper. Yeah. She was the voice of Jean Grey in the original run.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My theory is, and I don't know if this is true, I'd have to look up to see if there's an actual reason, but I feel like Catherine Disher's voice has changed over the years to where she's got kind of a deeper voice. So I wonder if that's why she decided to do Val Cooper.
Yeah. And Lenore does sound a little weird sometimes too with Rogue, which is, and Ryan mentioned that. Not you, Ryan. The other Ryan. He mentioned that, like, I think there was somebody else doing her voice, but I think it might have been her just not falling out of the practice or something.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make there, Kevin. Because I didn't think it was. I thought we did have, because we have a few new voices, and so I thought Rogue was one of them. It's like, oh, but it's just like how do you sound 30 years younger now than you did 30 years ago? And it's like, how, I don't know how I would fully expect a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit raspier. And I think, Rogue could go a little raspier and it would still be very sultry and Southern and would still work very well for the character. But it was a little off-putting because when she opened her mouth, it was like, oh, you kind of sound the same. You can't possibly be the same person. Oh, wow. How is that possible?
Yeah. I thought that Cal Dodd, who does Wolverine, sounded spot on still.
Yeah.
But
Storm,
George
spot
Buza,
on.
Yeah, Storm. George Buza, who does Beast, I thought he was a little different too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we have newcomer JP Karliak as Morph, who actually kind of gives me Ryan Terry vibes.
With his colored hair.
Oh.
His colored hair. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is our fun cast. We have more coming, but we'll talk about them later. Oh, AJ Locascio is new as Gambit, and then Matthew Watterson is good as Magneto. Holly Chow, Jubilee.
Yeah.
Jubilee,
Robinson,
new voice
Bishop.
there too. Sounds very similar to our other Jubilee. So, I like how, to what extent was reasonably possible that they did, either try to get the original cast or new individuals to bring their own personality and their own experiences to the characters, but still having a voice that is very close, and it's never going to be perfect. So I respect and admire how they strove, to do as best as they could to replicate these characters' voices from the original series.
Yeah, and I respect Allison Court, who voiced Jubilee. I know we've talked about this, but she decided to bow out because she wanted to let an Asian person take on the voice. But we will see her as another character, somewhere, kind of a deep cut character. I found out who it is.
Oh, I'll be on the lookout.
Yep.
Claire Redfield. Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, who was she in? She was in the Care Bears 2 movie. I think she was Dawn. John and Dawn. All right. Scott and Jean go outside to check on the team. Scott sends everyone out to find Roberto. Wolverine doesn't like being bossed around. He stands up to Scott. Jean calms Logan down, but not before Logan tells Scott he's a bad leader. Like, Logan's being an ass to Cyclops.
Rude. Can't you see he's in pain?
Right.
Not very forgiving here at the very beginning, but it wasn't very forgiving at back in our first episode of the series either, and it is I feel they're suffering such a great loss, and I feel Wolverine is most likely acting out because even his very kind of a stoic personality, that he's feeling the loss, and they're all dealing with it, and given that this is right after the events of the last episode of the original series, they haven't had a lot of time to grieve, or it's shortly thereafter, and I can understand that it doesn't feel like a regression. It feels like it feels naturalistic because of they've lost their father, so to speak. And we talk about it being a found family. And so this found family has lost their father figure. And so I think they're all going to deal with it in their different ways. And Wolverine is going to, doubt Cyclops' ability to lead without Professor X there to guide him. So I think it's a, very, I think it's a very natural response for him.
Well, on top of that, too, he has to concede with the fact that Jean is having a baby with Scott now. And
the most boring man in the world. I love that line, Lee. I love that line. It made me laugh. I laughed so hard.
It was funny. But yeah, it says, I looked at according to the death certificate, Professor X's death day is 11/11/96. And this is supposed to be like a few months later.
It's about a year later, I read.
Okay.
Really?
I read 6 months, but I read somewhere else a year, so I'm not sure.
Because I saw somewhere else when it was only like 2-3 months. So
much for 11/11 being lucky.
Yeah. They did that. They did that so that with whatever country you're in, it's the same.
Oh, smart.
Oh,
I like that.
I do like that. How neat.
Yeah. So, yeah. There was a mirror poster in the street, too, when you saw the street. I don't know if you noticed that. They showed like the outside. There's like little mirror poster on like a street post or whatever. Oh, and the newspaper had cameos, which I forgot to mention. There's a fashion show with Banshee, Dust, Maggot, and Marrow as models, and then a small image of Nature Girl and Squid Boy in the bottom corner.
Nice.
Oh,
I forgot to look for that. We called it out in the trailer, but not in the show.
Yeah, right. So I had to put that out again now because that was in the trailer as well. But yeah. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trying to keep it on going. All right. Now where are we? I have a 7. Yes. Later that night, the X team enter a club to look for Berto. Oh, we're calling him Berto now.
That's what they call him a lot in the comics.
Okay, I like it. Gambit and Rogue go to look out above the crowd. They have a moment. Down below, yeah, they do. They are like, ooh, touchy, touch me. Down below, Logan and Morph talk.
Touch me.
Yes, exactly. That was my goal. Logan morphs into Jean. Here's the funny part that we all love. Luckily, this time Logan doesn't go screaming into the jungle. Cyclops. But he's like, I'm Jean. Look at my big old belly. I'm going to make it bigger because I'm pregnant.
It pops out.
Yeah. I'm amazing, and I'm married to the most boring man in the world. Blah, 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 blah. Morph calls out Logan for being jelly of Psyche and Jean having a baby. Logan tells Morph that's not it. He mad because he feels like they're leaving the team. Mad because I feel like they're leaving the team. Jubilee approaches Berto in the crowd. He coaxes her to dance with him. Jubilee does her best Dazzler impression. She's like, okay, like, okay. If you're trying to be like conspicuous or inconspicuous, like that's not. I don't know. It seems weird.
Yeah.
Gambit and Rogue.
Love that.
It was beautiful, though.
Oh, it's so good. I really, really like that part.
It was very, yeah. I think of the Rose McGowan page dancing in the club, but but yeah, and she's doing that late show. Logan, Gambit, and Rogue join the others on the dance floor. They reveal they chased off some FOH goons who were after Berto. Yes.
All right. And then we get our next morphin time.
Morphin' time! I am an idiot.
Gene. He turned into Gene. And I have to say, Morph to me is very sexy in this new redesign, with or without his like non-binary face. Like both of them are very attractive to me. I give it 2 very enthusiastic legs up.
I thought the club scene really it was really fun. It was a nice kind of reset from kind of a lot of the heavier material that we're dealing with, and I think the club scene gives us a little break from that.
Oh, yeah.
And Jubilee's dance is fantastic, and it works really well, and it feels. I like that Jubilee, because most of the other X-Men are, older than Jubilee. And so I like how she feels that she's able to make this connection with another potential X-Men recruit that is closer to her age and kind of at the same stage in life that she was in, I guess, in timeline of the show, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever. And so... So I like how she's able to empathize with him really well, and I think he picks up on that a little bit as we get to know him a little bit more. And in the club scene, they worked so well. Not just it was entertaining, but we also have some good character building moments in there as well. And what I've always liked about the X-Men animated series is that there's so many aspects to it which are character driven. Like, it's not just about the outside action story. I mean, it's an animated series, half hour, got to tell like a whole story, even though it continues within a half hour, but you still get those good character moments. And I think this club scene is a great example of that. Yeah,
I'd agree wholeheartedly. 2 very enthusiastic legs up.
Whee! So in prison, Cyclops, Storm, and Bishop go to check in on Gyrick. They interrogate him to try to find Trask. Cyclops offers to reduce Gyrick's sentence from 25 years to 10 for any info on Trask. That's a hell of a deal right there. Gyrick tells him to fuck off. Gyrick tells Storm mutants are just a fad, that there's still many who hate them. Psyche threatens Gyrick. He refuses. Scott calls Jean to read Gyrick's mind. She's able to penetrate his thoughts and find info on Trask. He's building a new master mold. Jean is suddenly pulled into a vision of her baby. She hears voices and sees miles of graveyard. A new master mold arises and blasts everything. Jean is pulled from her vision.
It's crazy to me that Scott is willing to make this deal after Gyrick just basically killed Xavier. It shows how desperate he is to get to Trask.
Yeah. And it also shows how stupidly stubborn Gyrick is. I mean, it's just like, why it's like you've lost. It's like, what do you have to lose? You just at this moment you have everything to gain. You've got nothing to lose. So why not play ball? And it just goes to show how stubborn he is, which is a nice an accurate, that's the word I'm looking for, an accurate parallel to individuals that are very much like Gyrick in the real world. And it's why X-Men continues to feel very relevant, is that we can see ourselves in these characters, who we can see others. And I think it's an example of somebody's like, well, what if you don't have anything to lose, but yet you still refuse to participate in anything that's even remotely constructive.
Yeah.
He's cocky and creepy and hate-filled, and you just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
It's that too.
Well, and what gave me chills here is his whole thing about mutants being a fad and how people still hate them. It's very much the LGBTQIA community. Like, we went through this where it was a fad to put up, rainbow stuff in your stores every July. Real? Yeah, but on the back end, especially trans people are still getting killed, still getting bullied. We're still having people threaten drag spaces. Drag queens are under fire. Like, this is very much, RuPaul's Drag Race is one of the biggest shows on TV today, but yet on the back end, we're still being attacked in our spaces. So this you could tell this was written by somebody in the community.
Yeah. Well, he has this one thing. He says, tolerance is extinction, which is super chilling. Because it's like he's so insecure that because apparently tolerating people is just this big threat to his way of life, his ego, when it really has nothing to do with you, but they're so paranoid that they go down this hateful path. Ugh.
It's so weird too, because that happens to be the title of the last 3 episodes.
I know. It's like, so they pull you in right there. Yeah.
Yep. So good.
Yeah.
All right. Cyclops leads the team in the Blackbird. He tells them about Jean's warning to stop Trask immediately. They track Trask to the Sahara Desert. Scott threatens Logan to act as a team. Just then, a sentinel attacks the Blackbird. Scott is pulled from the plane. Storm and Rogue quickly catch the other X-team. Morphs into Archangel and saves Logan. I love Archangel. Cyclops uses his power to save himself by blasting into the ground to cushion his fall. Oh, morphin time, Archangel.
It's morphin time! I am an idiot.
Morphin time. I must have looked away for a second because I'm like, wait, where did Archangel get there? I was like so confused for a moment. I'm like,
no, I did the same thing.
Like, what the hell? Was he just flying around and just camping upon them?
I was cheering for Archangel with Alan, and as I was saying, it's Archangel, I was like, oh, it's morph as Archangel. Like, it clicked.
Yeah.
But
quick thinking, though. I mean, it was like, I was like, it was great. I like the play there.
Yeah, and this, I feel, is Morph's way of bringing justice to Archangel for dying in a plane crash in X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Hashtag still not over it.
Nope.
So, I won't say who, but we have kind of an inside scoop who told us about this scene. It was shown to them somewhere at the Uncanny Experience, which I'm looking forward to probably checking out this year now that I have money. But apparently the way Scott leads the team here, the way Scott blasts his way to safety, apparently when this was shown to Kevin Feige was like, oh my God, I finally understand why people like Cyclops and why he's cool. Like, this is such a badass scene for Cyclops.
Yeah. And the superhero landing, he did it.
Yeah. Yep. And thank you to the insider who shared that with us. We love you.
We love you.
And then, but bye Blackbird, and so it's destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I was so sad. I was just like,
I
oh
didn't think
no.
about that. I wonder if we'll get a new Blackbird.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be the Blackbird 2.
Yeah. Blackbird again. Blackbird the sequel.
The Blackbird rises. Fun. Okay. Scene 10. The X-Men arrive at Master Mold. Oh, I am Master Mold. Trask tells the X-Men Gyrick. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, evil. Trask tells the X-Men Gyrick warned him they were coming. He activates the Sentinels. Rogue takes down 2 and throws a head at a third. Heads up! Beast gives the Sentinel a change of heart and puppets it from them. That was super fun. And he was like doing these beautiful like intellectual jokes, and he's like diddly 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 do.
You know what it reminded me of? It was on the Simpsons ride where he's like on the inside of the panda, right? It's
the panda,
giant panda. He's like, oh yeah, he's like that's what it reminded me of.
That's
I wrote that.
Yep. You can say that about a lot of guys, though.
That's funny. Anyway, Bishop absorbs a Sentinel blast and takes out another until Wolverine is thrown at Beast, knocking him out. Here goes. He's like, Scott, he says, hey, give him the forecast. And then the Sentinels detect an Omega threat. And Storm enters, fierce as fuck. She like summons the lightning. She freezes the sand, turns it to glass, makes a tornado with all the glass that shatters, like rips up those Sentinels. Crazy, so cool.
Yeah, so cool. And I love the part when Wolverine is thrown at Beast, the way it's animated and it quickly shows Beast's face go, huh? And then Wolverine hits him and knocks. It's so masterful, like so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a part after the fight where you have a zoom in on Cyclops and you see the outline of his eyes through his visor, which I thought was also a really cool detail.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Master Mold awakens. Wolverine runs at Master Mold, and Gambit jumps on his back and charges his claws up. Wolverine calls on Morph to help him. Morphs into Blob, and Wolverine bounces up to Master Mold's head. He slices through it like a hot knife through butter. In come Val Cooper and the governor to clean up. They take Trask into custody. Trask tells them they have no idea what it feels like to be left behind by the future. Val tells Scott Xavier would have been proud of him today.
So it's morphin' time. We got a Blob moment.
Time. It's morphin' time! Oh, damn it, idiot!
But this thing Trask says, that is so pointed too. Like, that is what people are fearing, that the America isn't what it used to be, or make America great again, and that the future just keeps marching on. And it's like, why are you so afraid of other people getting to be themselves? And that's a very poignant line to me.
He says something about like being left behind, and they're so afraid of like not being the most powerful thing in the world that they can't even fathom their ego. It's all these fragile male egos, these Trump egos. Ugh.
Yep.
I think it's also it's a reminder of people fear what they don't understand, or I should say, not often. People often fear what they don't understand, and it is it's when they don't take the time to. It's like part of that is on them. Like if you don't understand something, well, it's incumbent upon you to understand more or ask questions. I love what Socrates says, and I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have all the right answers. I just know how to ask all the right questions, or enough questions, something like that. And I think so often there's a fear of asking questions because there is always this fear of the other. And in my upcoming book on horror films, I do talk about the fear of the other. And Freud writes a lot about it. And just all throughout horror films, there is so much of it is underscored by this just simple idea of fear of the other. And I feel he is a representation of that idea, fear of that which we don't understand. And it's just like, it's okay to be afraid of what you don't understand. It's not okay to continue to be afraid. It's like you need to take it upon yourself to educate yourself and ask questions, and so that's what I think is what I take away from this scene is it's like, I'm not going to fault somebody for being afraid of what they don't understand, because we're all afraid of things that we don't understand. It's this, that, or the other. But you can't stay there, because if you stay there, you can get left behind, or you can fall back, or you don't move forward. And it's important to educate yourself on, so you're no longer not understanding. I know it's not grammatically correct, but so you do have an understanding. And I, that's what I took away from these things. I think it's very short, but it's a very well written scene.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about being grammatically correct on this show. You've heard the shit that comes out of our mouths. But I love everything you just said. I loved your masterful plug for your book. I think between the two of us, I need to make a little soundbite for plug. So thank you for that. All right. Back at the manor, Jubilee and Roberto hang out in the belfry. This is familiar. Jubilee tells Berto what the X-Men have meant to her. She tells him it's more than a school, it's a family. Jubilee realizes Berto's parents don't know about his mutation. Berto reveals his powers to Jubes. He can channel solar energy into strength and energy. So he basically can make himself stronger, kind of like Sebastian Shaw in a way. Or he can also expel that energy and shoot it outwards, and he can fly. And he tells Jubilee he may let her fly his jet one day.
Yes, I love the line here. She's like, when he hands her his business card, and there's no QR code on it, by the way. It's an old fashioned.
It looked like Saved by the Bell.
It did. Yeah. And she's like, oh, it was something like, it's like, is this tell me that you're sexy and rich, or handsome and rich? And he's like, then he comes back with and single too, and I love that.
Yeah. It's like, it's all right because I'm saved by the bell. Yeah, it's exactly that. So beautiful.
Saved by the Bell. Just real quick, I introduced my American cinema students to Showgirls. So that was our movie last week. Yeah. So beautiful. Sadly, only one student liked it out of the 25. I guess they don't have an appreciation for how smart that I think that movie actually is. But in no other film studies class are you gonna watch Showgirls. But in mine, I show it because I want to have a conversation. Is it schlocky, exploitive, horrible representation, or is it deceptively genius? And I wanted to have that conversation. I don't think only one other student was like, I'm right there with you. And nobody else was.
That's too bad. It is a great schlocky movie with some good stuff.
Yeah.
And eating cat food.
The guy from Flintstones is in it.
Exactly. Yeah. The Saved by the Bell connection was Elizabeth Berkley. Yeah. It's just like, I don't, but this scene reminds me of the one with Storm and Jubilee and Night of the Sentinels right after she's brought there, and I really, really like that. And it doesn't feel cheap at all because it pays off dramatically. There's nothing wrong with nostalgic references and nods to previous work if it pays off dramatically. The problem is when you're just throwing it in there and there's no payoff except for, hey, see what we did there? So I like how these references do pay off. And I think it's because it is a smartly written show. And it's a great, again, really good character moment right there with the two of them, because Jubilee was there 4 years ago by, timeline of the show. And I like how it's showing maturity on her part, because she's now, functioning as an educator of sorts in what the X-Men stand for and what they do, and how, he, is like there's a place here for him because she was him, 4 years ago. And I like that because we need people like that in our lives who can be like, yeah, I was just where, you were 3-4 years ago, and we can learn from them. and I think it's it gives her more agency, and that's something in the original series I think she was always lacking a little bit. We get it every now and again, but I like how here very early on that we're giving Jubilee more agency than we did in the previous series.
Yeah, and also I think this is the first time she has an age-appropriate crush that's not Longshot or Gambit or someone double her age. Or Iceman.
She's like, I'm 17. I'll get older. It was
Yeah.
so weird that she was... the X-Men go out to play basketball with Jean as coach. Scott, well, kind of Logan, tells the team Scott and Jean are leaving. Yep. Jubes wonders who will lead the X-Men. Just then, there is an intruder alert. Everyone rushes to the headmaster's office to find Magneto, and we get our meme, our gay group hangout meme.
Yeah,
everybody's posting about, and it's so true. Like, it's great. All in their different states of dress. I want to cosplay that Cyclops and that tank really bad. Anyway, Magneto is there, and he's holding the last will and testament of Charles Francis Xavier. It leaves everything to Magneto.
And I love the size of that thing? That's a book. Yeah, it looks like a dictionary.
Like how long is this? But he what's the word I'm thinking of? Changes the way that Thieme X-Men is. It's like, because now you're all mine, something Thieme X-Men. He says that, but in a different kind of context.
Yeah.
Belong to me, my X-Men, which is very crazy.
Well, and I know I kind of mentioned this, but this is you look familiar because the last will and testament of Charles Xavier is directly designed off of the cover of Uncanny X-Men number 23. Straight from the comic books. I love that.
Yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. So I have a question though. Why wouldn't they have looked for this before? Is it because they know that he's not really dead? Because they know that he flew off into space?
Yeah, I'm guessing that would be the case, and maybe they just didn't realize he would have had one, and it went straight to Magneto legally, like it was delivered to him. But
maybe.
Well, I don't think email was still in its early years. Nito doesn't strike me as somebody who had AOL yet. So he probably had to wait for the old postal courier to bring the letter to him. And then he had to, horse and buggy, and he had to take it all the way back to where it is, so he could sit there and here and to Magneto, I bequest. And so maybe that's why it was just not as instantaneous as it is nowadays.
And then there was confusion when they were sending it. They're like, "Wait, is it Eisenhart? Is it Lenscher? Like, wait, what is this guy's name?
What's my name?"
Right.
That's not my name.
Exactly.
All right. So here's where we start. Mutant Liberation Begins, which aired March 20th, 2024, written by Bo DeMaio and directed by Chase Conley. So we get our second director so far.
Yeah.
I will start us off. FC News is reporting on the Coney Island nightmare. One passenger is stuck on a falling Ferris wheel. Just before the fire person and the child are about to die, the Ferris wheel is magnetically caught by Magneto, who saves everyone. Scott and Jean watch the news as it unfolds on the TV. Scott is feeling that Xavier didn't trust him. Jean comforts him.
So do we have any thoughts on why would Xavier leave everything to Magneto without even talking to Cyclops about it?
It does feel a little out of left field. I think it's well established that Professor X and Magneto have similar... They both want... I'm oversimplifying here, but they both want peace. Now, how they achieve that and what it looks like, is, up to this point has been very different. But at the end of the day, they both want the same thing, which makes a great villain. The best villains always want, the heroes and villains want the same thing, just wildly different methods of approaching it. And so I like that, that they have a similar goal. And I think it is because their friendship really has withstood the test of time. never once have we seen Magneto try to kill Professor X. Now he fights the X-Men, he tries to defeat them, but there's a respect for what Professor X is doing. Nito may not always agree, he may not understand, but he still respects him. And I think there's a lesson in there for all of us is working with individuals who do differ in opinion when your goal is the same or similar. And I like that. I think it's a little lesson, at least I take away from their relationship there. And perhaps that's why that Professor X, if this turns out to be true, and there's just not contested later, that maybe that's why that he has faith that his longtime relationship with Nito and everything that they've been through, both in the canon of this series and X-Men First Class, and just like we can just kind of like by extension think of all these things that they've been through, and in hopes that he will do the right thing. And that's why I think that's how I make sense of why Professor X would have done that.
Interesting. Did you have anything to add to that, Kevin?
No, I think it. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like there's a certain level of trust there, and I know why he would make Magneto his successor, but it is weird they didn't tell anybody. That's the part that's odd.
And maybe it's we'll find out later that it's just like, maybe things aren't quite what they appear to be.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the other shoe will slip and Magneto is going for the long game, or I wonder too if we'll find out like maybe Xavier wrote this at a time when he didn't feel Scott was ready. It didn't have to necessarily been written at the end of the first series. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, much younger.
Hopefully we'll get some answers there.
I'm gonna say this now because we never mentioned it last time we talked about the opening credits. The little Sinister tease in morph sequence.
Yes, it's so cool,
and I love that it's in morph sequence because he's the one that has that direct like touch of Sinister in him.
Yeah. Which I think is some of the I think we're doing. The credits are doing more than just introducing us to the show. That we are getting little nods to things that are perhaps to come, and I really liked about the morph sequence as well, in getting the Sinister in morph size. It was just enough because Sinister is one of our great villains in the X-Men universe, and morph is our tie to Mr. Sinister. So it's a great creative call there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I mean isn't even in the comics. This was completely original to the show. I'm hoping Morph gets more time in the comics now that he's so well established in the cartoon. And
we see the differences, with Magneto starts the call, the curtain call over here. Mm-hmm. So with the X in the it's so good. All right. As
Val Cooper and the rest of the government stooges watch the news, a new player prepares an anti-mutant gun in his secret lab. The world has agreed to keep their eye on Magneto. He seems good now, but will it last?
I forgot to mention last scene about the 90s moment.
Don't have a man.
You got mail.
90s moments.
The Walkman.
What is it?
That's right. It came crashing down off the Ferris wheel.
And it was definitely, it was inspired by a real Walkman brand at the time.
Yeah.
The
Sony one. I think Sony was the official Walkman.
It was the Sony, the Sony Sport. And this was called Anti-Sport.
Oh, funny.
So, very direct 90s reference here.
Yep.
Nice.
In the sewers, Callisto and Leech are brought to their news by the FOH.
Oh, I meant
they're
knees.
Preparing. Knees. I was like, their news. Like, I don't know what that means. Is that an expression? I don't know. It's like, I'm going to bring you the news. All right.
Anyway, nowadays a lot of the news does bring us to our knees, so
Yes.
it's just as well.
So in the sewers, Callisto and Leech are brought to their knees by the FOH. Yeah, they're dressed like, oh, the stupid blonde bitch there. Oh, I hate you. They are preparing to kill the Morlocks. Oh, I hate her so much. She looked like someone from Mortal Kombat, though, Sonya Blade.
Yeah.
Yes. They are preparing to kill the Morlocks. Enter Magneto. He easily dispatches the FOH and saves the Morlocks. I love how he like traps her to the wall and then like, shut up. Don't even try to yell at me and talk at me. That was like, it felt so good. Leech celebrates Nito as a hero.
I feel like this is a nod to the Mutant Massacre. I feel like they're not going to ever do that in the show because it's so dark. Like, Gambit leads Sabretooth and some of Sinister's men into the sewers to kill off the Morlocks because Sinister sees them as, like, lesser. And Gambit wasn't fully, like, privy to the plan. He didn't know they were going to be killing people, but that's his, like, big dark secret. He was kind of considered a villain before meeting the X-Men. But, yeah, I like this little nod to the comics here.
So, what do you guys make of Nito not wearing his trademark costume? To be honest, it's too early to make a judgment call, but I'm not really feeling it. I get it that it's like new Nito, but I miss his, because everybody else is pretty much in the original costume. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I do like him more in the red and fuchsia, Days of Fuchsia Past. But in this case, I do
iconic, I guess.
Yeah, I do appreciate this is straight out of the comics. He wore this outfit when he did lead the X-Men, so I appreciate the nod to it.
Okay.
And I feel like with his new role in the show, we need something different because it would be hard to like take him as a hero if he's wearing the villain outfit. To me,
okay,
I know we talked about this too when they first revealed this outfit back when we were doing the show. And we talked about this too, how we felt about it. I don't mind it because of the change in role, but at the same time, that iconic outfit that everyone knows would be nice to see at some point. It would be cool to just see him don it for something and we get that like excitement and surprise.
Or it could be maybe a new expression of that original costume.
Yeah, because he does come out later, much later in like 2010, I think, with like the black with the white stripe outfit, or then there's the white with the black stripe. They're the same outfit, just changed.
Yeah,
it'd be cool to see him in one of those because it is similar but different to the red and purple. But because this isn't my favorite Nito outfit, but I think it's necessary.
Okay, fair enough. Back at the manor, Wolverine is wondering about Xavier's decision to leave Nito in charge. Beast and Storm assure Logan it's the best way to turn a villain good. Rogue also comes to Eric's defense. Enter Magneto. Aha, I see what you did there. He announces that he has placed the Morlock safely in Genosha. Hey, there's Genosha again. I wonder if he's selling any vacations there. Cyclops asks Eric to let Jean scan his mind. Jean refuses. She says it's not good enough for proof. And the reasons she gives are very fair because it could be as true as it is at that very moment. So I appreciate her explanation. It's like, well, that's true. Nito politely invites Scott and Jean to leave. Nito reminds them that Xavier asked him to lead the X-Men, and he makes his exit.
Yeah,
I do like this thing with Jean because it shows that she has real morals when it comes to the use of her powers, unlike Charles Xavier, who just does it willy-nilly. That was really cool. I was a little thrown by Magneto taking them to Genosha because it can be a little bit traumatizing considering that this was a mutant prison. I'm like, I don't know. What exactly are we doing here? I don't know. But I
think being forced to mine again. It was just like a work camp, prison camp.
If you remember, though, in the original series, in the last episode, Magneto is living on Genosha with the mutants, so he did change it
Yeah.
So it was a prison camp, but he liberated it. But I have a very bad
Yeah.
feeling of where this could go in the show, because
Yeah.
in the comics, something very bad happens to Genosha with mutants living on it.
It's just hard because, like, I get why you're trying to reform it, but I feel like it's just hard. It's like taking the concentration camps and like,
Yep.
oh, let's go. And so
I can see that.
yeah.
Later in Jean's room, Storm is helping Jean pack her things. Jean shares her appreciation for Scott always being there for her. Jean asks to share a secret with Aurora, as long as she doesn't tell Scott. Jean shares that she wishes her baby to be born human to spare him the problems of being a mutant. Storm tells Jean she understands, but expresses her gratitude for being a mutant and the people who it has brought into her life. Jean can't shake the awful vision she had, which I have a theory that this Jean is Madeline, and she's going to cause this vision to happen. That's my theory.
It's funny because like they have like because there's this, and then the fact that she's having a boy, and are like, oh, she's having a boy, interesting. So I'm just having these little flavors, these little nuggets in there that makes you question. But yeah, I do think that this fear that Jean is having about like wanting it to be human and not mutant, I think is something that's very real for a lot of parents of queer people, or that type of thing, where it's like I worry for their safety, for what they will have to go through. So it's very real world here too.
Yeah, I think she shows the concerns that any mother has for a variety of reasons. I think the one most relevant, Kevin, you just spoke about so eloquently. But again, it feels it's very relatable, because I feel that any expected mother has just a lot of, aside from just the chemical changes and the hormones and just all the things that are happening, physiologically and, psychologically, that there is this, that you are scared, because you've got, hey, there's kind of like, feel like you have the weight of the world on your shoulder. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I am like one day we're, her and Scott we're two people, and then we're leaving the hospital, and now there's three people in our house. And I think here we get just real, it's that human dimension that Jean expresses. And I really like this moment with her and Storm, because again, it's really good for character building.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think Jean expresses what a lot of parents fear is, if my child is queer, how are people going to treat them? How are people going to look at me as a parent of a queer child? Are they going to blame me? Are they going to think it's my fault? So this is, like Kevin said, this is very real. And this is, I've seen online, a lot of people really like this moment, because Jean and Storm in the original series speak about their sisterly bond, but we don't ever really see it. And this is like that time we actually get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rogue goes to visit Nito after his speech to the team. Nito shares the deep loss he has felt at losing Xavier. Nito shares that Xavier's sacrifice opened the world's eyes to the error of their ways. He aims to honor that sacrifice. Rogue and Nito share a moment where Nito tries to remove Rogue's glove. Rogue pulls away and tells Nito that what happened in the past needs to stay there. It was a long time ago. Just then, helicopters are heard flying in. I was like, "What? Were they romantic? What is happening?"
I'm lost here. So I am counting on you guys to help catch me up. Of course, Kevin sounds like he's lost too. So Shawn,
I have no idea.
Please help us here. So like I watched it when I was a kid. I rewatched it. I've even watched it episode by episode with you guys, and it's just like I don't recall this ever being a thing. So please enlighten us.
During her villainous times, probably. She's probably a villain then too.
Yeah, I think they're going to say this is before she joined the X-Men, because she says that was a long time ago. So I can't imagine in the past 6 months something happened between them. But Magneto and Rogue have been kind of an on and off thing in the comics. It started in Age of Apocalypse, where it was written in that Rogue and Magneto actually married and had a kid together. but that wasn't canon to the actual story since that was its own kind of universe. But later on, there is definitely a struggle where basically Rogue finally gets control of her powers. So all of us were like, yay, she's going to fuck Gambit. But she got with Magneto for a while. And part
It
of
must
the
have been
draw,
electrifying.
Yeah. Part of the draw to her wanting to be with Magneto is the fact that it's written in that he's kind of like his own condom. He is able to put a magnetic force around him to negate Rogue's touch. So that's why we see.
Oh,
when
you did
they
mention
touch,
this
there's a
before.
little spark.
I did
this
see there was that little
Yeah.
the little spark there. I did pick up on that.
So that's what they're hinting at. So I'm interested. I had no expectations that this would be written in. I'm really excited to see what the history is and where it goes within this universe.
Oh man, I was wanting her to get together with Gambit. Now she's going to get together with Nito.
I know. And there's a really funny time, I forgot about this, where Rogue is with Magneto. So you could imagine if Magneto were to have kids about the same age as Rogue, such as Wanda, how Wanda would take to having a stepmom figure who's the same age as her. Did not go well. They were on the team together with Steve Rogers.
You're a tramp.
There was a lot of tension between them. Yeah. It was very funny writing. But yeah, it does make me sad because I love Rogue and Gambit together. And as we see through the episode, somebody obviously knows something's going on.
Yeah.
X-Men and Nito go out front to meet the Choppas. Val Cooper and the government men exit and pull guns on Nito. Cooper demands Nito come with them. When Val threatens Nito with magnetic-resistant guns, Nito shows his power by taking control of the Choppas and using them to threaten Val and her men. Nito offers to go with Val as long as it is a fair trial. He yields and is taken away.
Yeah, this speaks a lot for Nito because he's willing to be held guilty if that's what they say. He just wants that chance that can you at least maybe give me some honor here.
Because when they did with Beast, it was totally not really a fair trial. It was rigged. So yeah, you need to do better than that.
Yeah. So it is, I think it's showing where it's very much something Professor X would have done. So this is out of character for Nito, even this newly emerging character that we're just discovering in this episode. But you can tell that it's not, at least it doesn't give the appearance that it's flippant and that he's always acknowledging this is what Charles would want and this is what Charles would have wanted. And I feel in that situation, Charles, if the floating wheelchair would have been on the other foot, he would have done this. He would have done the same thing. And so I think it's a good. It's showing some potential growth there. And I'm not as familiar with the comics like you are, Shawn, but I familiar enough to know that at one time he did lead the X-Men, and so I feel it's actions like this. Like that's what it would take in order to lead the X-Men for, however brief or long his tenure was.
Yeah.
It just shows he's trying and how much he respects Xavier, He means a lot to him to at least try to help his dream remain and come true. And so.
Yeah. All right. The world watches the trial of Magneto. Cooper lists all the laws Magneto has broken as people protest outside the courthouse. In a beaten-up van, a man puts on his executioner. See, I'm already doing it again. Executioner gear and readies his weapons. He plans on shooting Nito. In the courtroom, Nito stands on trial while wearing a mutant power dampening collar. He shares with the world his sad past and what led him to take the actions he did. He also shares Xavier's dream and begs for freedom. Radios go off suddenly that Executioner is making his way into the courthouse. And we have another You Look Familiar. This scene with Nito standing in front of the courtroom in shackles is directly taken from the cover of Uncanny X-Men 200.
Oh, beautiful.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I love it.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Neat.
and I
Neato.
do like that
Neato.
the president in this scene is very much like, oh, I see what you did there, Ryan. He's very much like Bill Clinton. Like he's talking like Clinton, who was the president in 97.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
I didn't think about
Oh, yeah.
that, but you're right. I can pick up on that.
Well, some of us have already watched it twice, Ryan. So.
At the same moment, back at the manor, Jean enters and tells Logan he's here. Logan flips the fuck out and prepares for apocalypse. But then Jean is talking. She's like, "My baby, my baby, idiot!" And I love how she's like telling him he brings the keys and his coat. Like, let's go.
Yep.
So fun. Logan rushes Jean to the car and they head to the hospital. Luckily, Jean is able to use her power to avert many deaths, and so fun. She's hemorrhaging, but she's like, ah, and then like, let me save you from being run over, and here's your coffee, don't forget, and beautiful.
Yep.
So back at the courthouse, the X-Men play crowd control as the protesters start to January 11th, the courthouse. Enter the Executioner. The X-Men lock into battle with him. He easily dispatches Cyclops while spouting humanist crap at him. Enter Lady Deathstrike, who then morphs into Colossus and then morphs into Psylocke and saves Cyclops. Jean telepathically connects with Scott and begs for him to be with her. Storm orders Rogue to take Scott to the hospital. Storm takes charge, as she should, because she's the real leader, and starts spouting orders to everyone. She orders Nito freed. Love how she just takes control of the chaos.
I get it, mama.
Yeah.
And we have 3. It's morphin' times.
I am an idiot.
Yeah,
Lady Deathstrike to Colossus to Psylocke. And it fooled me again. I was like, oh my god, it's Morph.
Me too. It's so quick. I'm like, where are these people? They just show up to help because they're so ready to be nice to these guys.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
I like that we see like Morph is morphing into such strong men and women. You know, there's no thought like I just want to be this person, I just want to be that person. It doesn't have to be all male, all female.
Yeah,
well, I think we're setting the stage for many morphin times to come. So I'm looking for, because we really didn't get to, even though there was a period of time in which Morph isn't in the series, or I mean, he's off in the background somewhere. The times that Morph is in there, we don't get a lot. I would say our range of morphs is nearly to the degree that we have in here, and it I feel like, well, if you're if that's your power is to morph, we should see a lot of morphing. And I feel in the original series we don't really get a lot of it. And so we're getting a lot of it here, which is a lot of fun, because I think the ability, the power to morph should be both strategic and fun. And I like how we're playing around with both the humoristic, aspects to it. And then also just here, it's just strategically a very important power to have.
Yeah, I agree. I really appreciate Morph so much more in these episodes for the way they are showing their power set. Like, you hit it on the head. It's fun, it's strategic, it's everything that I would want from someone with this power.
Yeah.
Even Mystique.
And makes him a real asset to the team that we never got to see before. Instead of being like I don't know, he was kind of like a minion, or like he wasn't as important before. He was someone.
We're told how important he is.
I know.
But we don't see
it's so
it,
hard.
and it's important. Yeah.
All right. Logan is having issues at the hospital. Ooh, this scene. They won't help with the birth due to Jean being a mutant. In comes Psyche and Rogue. Rogue absorbs the doctor's experience and takes charge of the birth. This scene is so important to show because this is, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, but this is what a lot of queer people have had to deal with during the AIDS pandemic, with their significant other being in the hospital. Like, this speaks volumes without being overly preachy or saying too much.
It's like
Yeah,
all
and
these bigotry
it's
of the doctors.
I think it's a very very harsh critique of medical professionals as well, because I don't know the Hippocratic Oath by heart, but I am aware that at one point in the Hippocratic Oath, it might even be the opening line, do no harm, or maybe it's the last line, I don't know. But in the Hippocratic Oath somewhere is do no harm, and language, to the effect of, must help in times of need. And right here we have just a complete abandonment of the very thing that you have sworn to uphold and to carry out. And it's very reminiscent. I think, Shawn, you make up a really good point there, that there were instances probably not too dissimilar to this during the height of the AIDS crisis, especially in the 1980s, and even carrying over into at least the early 90s anyway. And so it's one of those moments to where it's just like, hey, this was expressions of this same idea or this same situation do still happen. And so I think it, among other things, it is a critique of medical professionals, because it's just like it's like, no, you don't have it. You took an oath. This is part of what you have sworn to do. But also a grim reminder of, it happened, and to some degree, still happens.
So I love the idea of Rogue taking his knowledge. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Back at the courthouse, the protesters enter the building. They march on the police, firing at them and the mutants. Nito uses the metal in the room to create a metal cage around everyone. Storm uses her power to electrify the metal, creating an electric cage. How clever. Enter Executioner. He fires at Magneto. Storm throws herself in the way of the blast. Nito easily dispatches the Executioner. He checks on Storm to find she has been stripped of her power. Val tries to tell Nito that no one wanted this. Nito doesn't believe her, though. As Storm lies crying on the ground, Nito lectures the humans on their bigotry.
So sad.
Oh, this was so sad. It was just like, what's happened to my girl? She's just like, it's just, I was shocked when, I had no words. I was just like, I cannot believe this.
And it explains why they were showing off her powers so much in the beginning, to make this even more surprising and tragic.
Yeah, she was badass. Like, she's always been badass, but she's like badass whole new level in here. But no, it was it reminded me of the it was the Dark Phoenix, where they shoot the syringes. I think headline movies, the one where they shoot the syringes. So it reminds me of a weapon that is kind of a that same idea, but in laser or proton form, or we later learn it was it's a genetic weapon. But I like, so I don't know if that's original to the comics. I don't know if they took that from the live action movies, but it's a very serious weapon, because it's just, that is like, I don't know, it's the stakes, it ratchets up the stakes really high. And even though I wish it had been any other X-Men except for Storm, I was ready to sacrifice anybody else. You don't sacrifice my girl. What I like, though, is that it's just like the stakes, like it is life and death stakes. And we're reminded, as the X-Men has done a lot of times, and I know you guys have brought this up on the show before, that it's kind of a form of death. There's certainly a grieving process involved in here that it can, don't, just because you're, a powerful, important character in terms of storytelling, it doesn't mean that you're invincible. And so it's a reminder of kind of the brevity of life and how anything can change at just the blink of an eye, like we have here.
Yeah, and thank you for asking, Ryan. In 1984's Uncanny X-Men number 185, Henry Gyrick, it's always fucking Gyrick, he shoots a gun at Rogue, and Storm throws herself in the way of the blast, stripping her of her power. It does get a little more dramaticer than that, though, because it turns out that the person who made the gun was Forge, who Storm was dating at the time.
Oh,
that's like soap opera level right there. Wow.
Yeah, and Forge had never intended it for it to be used against someone as a weapon in this way. He was developing it more for, like, if I remember right, I think it was more for like a form of control, almost like the death sentence, which you so eloquently brought up. Like for a mutant who's out of control, they could use it against them, but it was used on Storm, and it eventually led to her breakup with Forge because she couldn't understand how someone who is a mutant could ever build that weapon, even if it's used only for the right purposes.
The problem, I mean, this was really sad because most of the way she was describing it too, she's like, I can't feel the moisture in the air, and it's almost like she almost wills herself to cry so that she can feel some moisture, just in the. There's big sorrow, a big loss when you feel like you lose such a core part of who you are, something you've known forever. So that's part of what makes it really, really sad.
It was just gut wrenching. It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than Morph, getting killed, because we didn't, I mean, except for those that read the comics, there wasn't a relationship with Morph. And so, but here we have this long-standing relationship with Storm, the rightful leader of the X-Men. And then we have, and then we just see just such a strong individual really being stripped of who they are. And it was such a heavy moment. It really was.
Well, and I do really appreciate, as a comic book lover, not like I fuck comic books, but I love them, that Storm and Magneto are forming this kind of bond. Like, she sacrificed herself for him, because in the current reads in X-Men Red, Storm is basically the Queen of Mars, which is called Arakko, and Magneto is her right-hand man. Like, he respects her so much. He sacrificed basically his life in the name of Storm. And then recently Storm turns that around and she goes to hell to bring Magneto back, which is kind of a tried and true trope in comics. But just the idea that she went to that length for this man, it shows the non-physical love between these two people. So I like that we're getting a hint of that here.
The way that Magneto reacted, even before he realized that her powers were gone, just from her being taken down or being shot when it was meant for him, he retaliated pretty aggressively, and it goes to show how much he respects her, and the fact that he called her like a living goddess earlier. There's a lot going on between them, which is nice.
So I do have one problem with this scene. I can't like fathom it in my brain. I can't make sense of it. So if you think back to episode 1, when Birdo is in the danger room, what he sees is this destroyed space around him with the coin that we see Magneto use in the next scene on the ground, and Val Cooper is laying amongst the wreckage. So they almost recreate this scene, or what could have gone wrong with this scene, in the danger room. So I'm like, how does that make sense? Why did that happen?
Weird.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't think about that.
Well, as someone who's already watched this twice, I like how this is like a badge of honor to me now. Who cares that I watched it twice?
Yes, but I've seen the third episode.
You
Right.
have.
And you told me you're gonna watch every episode twice anyway to begin with. You're gonna watch one to watch it and one to take notes on it, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So Nito takes Executioner and Val to the board up into space. He tells them in the past he would have killed them. We know he definitely would have. But now he has turned over a new leaf. He tells them Charles has instilled a new belief in him. Nito tells the board that they don't need to love or accept mutants, but they need to accept that there is room for mutants in the world. He asks that they don't make him change his mind to be good later.
It makes sense. Just go with it.
Okay.
I wrote this really quick today.
And you know what? It's actually, I must say, I really am amazed that that just in the short amount of time that you've had to put this together, that you have the outlines. And listeners, if you can see the outline, we have fun when there's like little mistakes here and there, and we can laugh this out of the other. But the truth is that there's just a lot of work that you don't get a chance to see, and it makes me appreciate the preparation that Shawn and Kevin go through in these shows. Because I'm fortunate, me and the handful of other people that you get to hear from occasionally, guest on the show, you get to see it. And it really is. It's a lot. There's a lot written here, and so just always never forget to appreciate the work and the quick turnarounds that go into bringing each of these episodes to you.
Thanks, girl. I appreciate that. It is a lot of work, but
Any
it's a passion
podcast
of ours. So yeah.
That make a change is good mind later. I like this. I like this moment here because it's sort of like they're kind of at an impasse, and Magneto provides an avenue to work through this impasse, and he just kind of tells it like it is. He's like, you don't have to love mutants, but they're here. And we can either live in a world, and I know he doesn't say it this way, but this is kind of my interpretation of what he's saying, is we don't have you. It's like you're in this world anyway. So you have two choices. One, you can either choose to continue to live in this world and continue to despise and hate mutants, or you can live in this world and learn to live with them. To me, this continuing, harboring hatred in these outbursts and all these protests and all the other how it all is all the various ways it's manifested in the show, that it takes way more energy to do that, and so it would take far less energy and just to kind of accept that they're here and there's nothing you can really do about it. So what can we do to move forward? And again, very much is channeling something that Professor Xavier would have said. And so it's only like, I don't know, it's probably like a 120-second scene maybe, but there's a lot there's a lot of gravitas in that moment in which they're in the stratosphere and they're almost like in space. You even see the
breath.
Breath. Yes, thank you. You can see the breath coming out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very powerful because he does say something like, we both have to respect that we each have the right to exist.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's what it comes down to, which is funny because when he was doing his Trial of Magneto thing, he even said he like almost choked at the words like coexist. Like it was painful for him to say. So he's every moment that passes, he's getting a little bit more comfortable in it. But yeah, what a beautiful speech.
Yeah, and when I think about this ideal, if you put it into today's world, as much as I hate Nazis and KKK, nobody's actively trying to tell them you can't exist. We're telling them you can't be hurting people, you can't threaten people, you can have your beliefs, but our side is being actively told you're wrong. It's a sickness. You can't exist. So I love Magneto's speech because this makes sense to me. If you don't like us, that's fine. But we have rights. We're people. We should be able to choose to have abortions if we want to. We should be able to get married. We should be able to do all the things everybody else can. But on a lighter note, new life. Back in the hospital, Jean gives birth to Nathan Charles. I wonder why I emphasize that. Summers. Logan looks on as Jean and Scott smooch as they hold their newborn baby. So
That's
this struck
name.
me right away. Yeah. Because in the comics, he's Nathan Christopher Summers after Scott's dad, Corsair.
Yeah.
So I really like that they changed it and made him Charles because it fits. Like they would want to honor Charles, who they just lost.
Yeah.
So this is a neat change.
Yeah, yeah. And it has the same initials either way.
Yeah.
It does.
Mm-hmm. Brought to you by Elmo.
Oh my. 6 news.
They call it like 6 news, yeah.
Okay, 6 news. Oh, better not be Fox 6. Blah. Anyway, the news. 6 News announces the full pardon of Magneto because he spoke to them. He touched the nerve. He got through to some of them. Yay. Val Cooper comes on and announces Genosha becoming part of the UN nation. What an accomplishment. What an unseen circumstance, which is great. Scott offers Nito coffee as the two watch the news. Scott gives Nito his blessing to take over the X-Men. He trusts Xavier's judgment. He's like, I don't trust you, but I trusted Xavier and he trusted you, so sure. Anyway, Nito tells Scott they won today, but it was at a great cost.
In Beast Lab, Aurora waits patiently as Beast examines her blood sample. Jean holds Aurora protectively in support. Beast reports that the gun basically used the tech from the collars to strip powers at a cellular level. He tells Aurora that the effects of the gun seem permanent. Oh, this just made the moments earlier and just hit even harder. Because at least with the collars, they could be removed. But now we're looking at something which could be permanent. Jean hugs Aurora and tells her that they'll find a way to fix this. And I like Storm's reaction to this because I think it's very human reaction because it's easy to say, well, you'll make it through something. Well, sometimes what you're going through, perhaps you're cognizant that in some way or another you will make it through, but that doesn't take away from the loss that you're feeling, the grief that you're going through, the hard times that you're facing, or the life-changing event life-changing injury that you just went through. And you can tell that Storm is struggling with that, where she has the knowledge that she will continue living, but her life experience and her quality of life very different than it was 24 hours earlier. And I like how we see that struggle in her because it feels very real.
Yeah, and this makes me think back to the sisterly moment with Jean and Aurora, where Aurora makes Jean feel comfortable in her mutantity and makes her feel better about, accepting her mutant child into the world. So I almost feel like if this happened to Jean, if Jean and baby Nathan were turned human with, him being in utero, that Jean would almost be more okay with it than Storm. So it's almost like we're seeing this dichotomy of, bitch, earlier today you told me you don't appreciate your mutantism, and now I've lost it, and now you're the one who's comforting me. It's a very interesting, very layered moment to me.
Mm-hmm.
Storm goes back to her room alone. She looks at her ruined X-suit. Just then, thunder sounds, and Storm looks into the storm longingly. Jean comes to Storm's room later to find Storm's earrings and a letter. Storm has decided to leave the X-Men. It's too hard for her to be around mutants while she's powerless. While we hear Storm's letter being read, we see Rogue and Magneto touch, skin to skin, and smile at each other. Outside, Morph goes to Logan with snacks. He playfully morphs. It's morphin' time! Into Sabretooth, and the two play fight. It's so adorable. I fucking love Morph in this. We see Gambit standing outside Magneto's room as Rogue leaves while putting on her glove.
Oh, that's so sad. So sadness right here at the end of our second. Kind of feels like one episode. So the end of our two-parter. A lot of very heavy moments right here at the very beginning.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on.
Storm gets on a bus to leave. In her letter, Storm tells Jean they are no longer connected. She feels they walk in two different worlds. We see Jean reading the letter to the team of X-Men. Nito tells everyone they will respect Storm's decision. Morph says he bets Storm will be back. Yeah, she's coming back. Just then, the doorbell rings. Morph goes to answer it. It's Jean! Wait, then who did Scott just have a baby with? Ooh, confirmation. All right, so this is super sad. The letter's super sad, and I love that it starts with Storm talking and then goes to Jean finishing it off. And everyone's crying, and it's like, oh, we're crying with them, they're crying. It's a moment. But yeah, this totally confirms to me that who Scott is with is Maddie.
Yeah, this obviously, it goes one of two ways. So did he get Jean pregnant, and now this is Madeline coming in, and now there's going to be a question, who's the real Jean? Or are we pretty sure that this is Madeline who just gave birth?
Well, the real Jean Grey, please stand up.
Yep. I agree. I think Madeline had the baby, which to me, especially for a children's cartoon, calls into question a lot of things. Like, did Scott cheat on Jean? You know? He slept with what he thought was Jean. In the comic, Jean was dead, so Chris Claremont wanted Scott to leave the team, so he meets Madeline, who happens to look like Jean. But then when they wanted to bring Jean back to life, that's when they retconned it and said, oh, this was actually a clone, and that's why she looked like Jean. I'm so excited for this. I love Madeline Pryor. She's a messy character where she's come back to life thousands of times for like weird, no reason sometimes, but she's an interesting character. She's a fun character. She's a dark character. One of the biggest differences in the show and the comics is Madeline's not a mutant in the comics. She does not have Jean's powers. She gets powers elsewhere later from Hell, but yeah, she does not have Jean's powers. Cool. So that is our episodes. So let's talk about it. Let's talk how we feel about the animation, how we feel about the show, then we'll rate it.
Oh, I very much into it. I've enjoyed getting to return to the world of the X-Men, and overall enjoyable. One of the things that I am like, will grow on me, because I don't want to pigeonhole myself into looking at everything through 30 years ago lenses. But I feel that the animation I'm hit or miss with. Like I feel that it is trying to go for that hand-drawn style, but it's not being drawn by hand. It is being drawn by a computer. And sometimes I don't know. It was a little almost like kind of the equivalent of the Uncanny Valley. It's the only illustration I can think of to where it says, I see what you're trying to do, but you're using computers and it's almost like too smooth. I don't know. I'm not, sometimes I wasn't feeling it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I get it. It's a change. I think for me, last night, in my excitement, I was pulling up some of the clips they released, and they had released the Sisterly Talk clip. Mm-hmm. And in that one is when I really noticed, like, yeah, It looks sleek, but it's different. It's something you have to kind of get used to. So I get it.
It's kind of like Archer a little bit. Like I see little bits of, especially there towards the end. I was like, the way the camera is panning across our X-Men, and how there's that illusion of depth with the background that's also kind of forced perspective. It was like, this is kind of Archer-like, and so that's the show that at least jumped into my head anyway.
It's funny. I heard it compared to Archer before it came out. It was like, this is an Archer style animation. And I was like, oh no. I was kind of like, is it? My main complaint is some of the skin tones sometimes, like especially if you look at Magneto and Xavier, they're very pale and they have these kind of reddish pink lips, and it makes Magneto to me look ghastly sometimes. I'm almost like, why would Rogue be attracted to him? That's my only complaint. And sometimes with like Storm especially, there's that little pink area of the eye, and I don't know why, it kind of grosses me out, like the way they drew it. I know it's there, but it's very there in the show sometimes. So just little things here and there. But overall, I'm excited by the animation. So since these kind of run into together into one episode, how do we rate this? Britishly bitchin' like Emma, pretty cool like Iceman, Australian Wolverine, you kind of love it, but you kind of hate it. Fat and sweaty like Jubilee, or unspeakable like X-Men Origins Deadpool.
These 2 episodes had color, they had camp, they had very real emotional beats, very heartfelt, serious moments, a perfect blend of the show that we knew with some of the more modern, new developments. It has a much more serious tone, while still honoring what came before and what the mood was. So it's a really great balance of mood, which I love. So I'm going to give these 2 episodes Britishly bitchin'. They're doing everything right. They are coming in strong. And I'm very happy with what we have been seeing here.
Ooh. Let's see. I feel like I'm caught between 2, but I will just pick one. So overall, I'm gonna go bitchin' like Emma.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give it Britishly bitchin' just because I didn't want to shoot my load on these first 2 episodes, but like, how do you make these better? Like, it gave us more than what we expected, so it's there. How about the MXP, or most excellent player?
Oh, Storm, hands down. So like that's easy. That's easy.
Okay.
For my MXP, this was kind of tricky. Based on the first episode, I was debating between Cyclops and Storm. I thought Cyclops was doing such a really great job here. Between his fighting and the way he was represented, I thought it was very much Cyclops, and he was super cool. But Storm was also doing her diva goddess moments, which I was living for those. Allison's voice acting in this was just perfect. Every line was delivered exactly as it needed to be. So that was really hard for the first episode. For the second episode, I was debating between Magneto and Storm. Magneto had a really great arc in this episode. We got to see where he's coming from and how he struggles with his 2 different points of view, between trying to balance his view and Charles's view, but how much he honors Charles, which is great. But the common denominator, because Storm again in this, full sacrifice. She continues her epicness. She makes the ultimate sacrifice, and her story is the most dramatic. So because of that common denominator between the 2 episodes, I'm going to give Storm MXP this time. But so much greatness going on here with multiple characters.
As someone who's watched this twice and has a deeper understanding. No, I'm just kidding. No, for the first part, I know we said we weren't going to. I would say Jubilee, actually, for the first part. Second part, I gave it to Magneto. I feel like Jubilee's the one who brought Birdo in the first part, and Magneto's the one who showed that he could be more and could make peace with humans. So I think he drove the action in the second part. What would we say is the X Factor?
The X Factor? I don't know. This was so hard because, like, everything, the entirety of what's going on. We have
Right?
the team coming together. We have them fighting for somebody new and bringing them into the fold. We have the balance between, or the confrontation between humanity and mutants, and what you do in that confrontation, what choices you make. There's heartbreak. There's saving, the use of powers and action scenes. It's all there. Every X Factor moment is represented in these 2 episodes, and so I'm just gonna say it, the show. It's X-Men. X-Men '97 is my X Factor.
Okay, that's fair.
No, I think I guess for me the X Factor, and I agree with Kevin. It's like how do you choose? There's so many wonderful options here. I'd say overall it was a very human episode, and I don't mean human as in like friends of humanity. Not I mean, but just
Yeah.
a very very human
On a human
episode.
level.
Yeah, that we get great exploration of the human dimension and what it means to be human or mutant in this case, and that they just felt like real people that happen to have these superpowers, but they're still real people, which we don't often get in superhero movies and TV shows. They feel artificial. It's entertaining. I'm not here to knock that. There's a difference. Is that it's just more entertaining. And while this is entertaining, it's very naturalistic and it's very raw. And for me, that's the X Factor in these first 3 episodes.
Stop it.
So that'd be my pick, the human dimension.
You're only special for another week, and then we catch up to you.
You can't sit at my table. Not yet.
I know I've kind of said this before, especially with like Deadpool the movie, but my X Factor is put the right people in charge, put people who are passionate. We've seen this huge string of Madam Web, pretty much any DC movie, of even some of the Marvel movies, where they're just not giving us that same passion or effect that they used to. And it's like, honor the characters, honor the storylines. We don't need to see straight up the comics brought to life, but we want to see the threads that connect to the comics. We want to see the threads that are woven into it to make us realize, hey, somebody who's passionate like Bo is the one who wrote this, and I understand where he took these nods and how he wants to honor this medium that, to some of us, especially myself, like, X-Men has defined my life. I was that little gay nerd who didn't fit in, and now I have them tattooed to my arms, hanging on my walls. Like, they made me feel a sense of belonging in the world, and they made me understand that being different is okay, and that you'll find your team of X-Men somewhere down the line who accept you, no matter if you turn into Dark Phoenix and kill a bunch of shit. They still come together to love you. And I just love that this show is still in the vein that it used to be, and that the right people are giving us this amazing chance at a second shot at it. Which, by the way, a 3rd season has been greenlit apparently already. So I'm curious to see who would be in charge of it, though. Hopefully, I'm hoping for the Luwalds. Give it back to them. If we can't have Bo, I mean. So this week's question comes from a space that it was just recently announced that someone who's very sexy to me, and someone who I'm very excited to see involved, Theo James, has been announced to be joining the cast of X-Men 97 in a role as a undisclosed popular character. So I want to know, who do we want Theo James to voice? Do we want Havoc, Archangel, Iceman, or Quentin Quire? See, I thought I'd throw him in just for funsies. He's more of a comic character. He is psychic. He started an insurrection against the Xavier School once when he was a student. And he's become kind of a tongue-in-cheek character who we see the future Quentin Quire eventually gets the Phoenix Force. So I just thought it'd be fun to throw him in there for the comic readers.
He wasn't he in the short-lived YA series that just kind of poof, it just disappeared after what was it, 3 movies? He plays it's 11 or 9 or 1 or he plays kind of like that the love 4, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
And he was also just in White Lotus. We had a very sexy naked Theo James scene.
Oh, very cool.
So I think we all know my answer. I want to see Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen him. All I can remember him from is Divergent, but I don't know. He kind of so I pulled him up here just really quickly, and I'm thinking, who do I know it's voice work, but if I could imagine him as one of the characters, he strikes me as more of the Archangel type than the Iceman type. Although Ben Hardy's Angel, it's just like
makes you hardy.
Yes, he does. He makes me hardy. So it kind of strikes me as more of the Archangel type.
Okay.
I can't picture what his voice sounds like though. His look, he could easily play any of the 3 blondes. This is so. I think I'm gonna go with Havoc just to cover our bases. We get all 3 of them represented because I think he could play either one of them and kill it. So let's go Havoc. And I do always love a
trifecta of answers.
And so
yeah. And I actually think our insider already answered this for us, but we'll see what happens. But all right, to wrap up, and Ryan, you can't play this game. You can't sit with us. The next episode is called Fire Made Flesh. What do we think this is about? Yeah, when I first saw the title, I thought it was going to be a Birdo-centric since his power is to ignite his flesh. But seeing the gene come in the end, I think we're going to get answers as to who's who and, Fire Made Flesh. That's pretty straightforward Phoenix to human. So we'll see. We'll see. And Ryan's thinking to himself, these idiots are completely wrong.
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
All right. But until next week, Kevin, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on my personal Instagram, KJEEZY87, KGZ87. We had just cast the Charmed musical, so Shawn is playing the narrator in it. I'm very excited, so you have a lot to say. And we're going to start recording that, and it'll be coming out. Oh my God. The fun.
Well, when it goes on tour, please, I'm asking now for a pair of comp tickets. Is it I'm just shamelessly just asking right now, when it goes on tour, please, because I would love to come and see the show on Broadway, or the tour will be fine too. But you're gonna recast the tour people, and they're gonna be almost as good, not quite. But that just might be how I have this.
All right, Ryan, and where can the people find you?
You can follow my blog at rlterryrealview.com. That's real with 2 E's, where I regularly post film reviews, occasionally Throwback Thursday stuff, but a lot of it tends to be more stuff that's going to be upcoming. Also, you're going to hang out with me on Twitter X Twitter, at rlterry1, and my Instagram is really not that interesting, but you can hang out with me there too. That's rlterry, rl_terry. I really should have, when I set up all these things a bajillion years ago, I should have just made it all the same handle, but I guess I wasn't that bright back when I was setting all this stuff up.
Yeah. Cool. And you can find this podcast. I never say that. You can find this podcast on Instagram at solvingforx.xmen.tas. And you can find me at Shawn Perrette, where you just get my random, stupid, silly adventures and concerts that I go to. Yay! All right, sexy Xies, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with Fire Made Flesh. All right.
Ooh, this is
man,
a
here.
hell of a long show. Bet it was